Final at the Gabba. Stars, how do you feel about on the eve of the match?
Yeah, it's fantastic, isn't it? Could have happened 4 years ago, but we know the reasons why it didn't. But no, it's fantastic. The girls had their game here 3 weeks ago, and we're really excited to play the home and away game here against North. So, double down on that. They're super excited about tomorrow.
What does doing the one game? What does the one game do for you? Having a hit out on the Gabba, whereas no one else has had a look at it yet.
Yeah, I mean, for anyone, any new ground that you go to, and even for our girls, this is a new venue. It's nice to know conditions and dimensions and all those sort of things, and what the surface feels like. So all that sort of stuff's great for your familiarisation of the venue. But outside of that, it's probably home crowd support that comes into play. But playing here and knowing the dimensions, and every ground's got its own unique little shape and idiosyncrasy, so all that sort of stuff is important to get your head around.
You played Collingwood 3 weeks ago, I think, a few weeks, not too long ago anyway. What do you take from that you can apply?
Yeah, well, that was the interesting week 4 weeks ago when we had the last minute move to Melbourne. So our people coped really, really well with that, and that not just the players, the staff and everyone were super in making sure we had a competitive effort that day. Obviously, there was a few things that day that worked for us, a few things that we need to improve on, but that's the case most weeks in footy. But yeah, it gives us a bit of a roadmap as to what areas we need to be really mindful of tomorrow, and we'll sort of take all those learnings into tomorrow and think about what worked and what didn't work and try and apply them.
I know it was windy that day, but what did it take from the last quarter, particularly when they really came at you and almost pinched the win?
Yeah, well, they were like that against North last week. By looking at the game last week, there appeared to be a slight breeze to the end they kicked in the last quarter, but they're a team that don't give up 100%. They'll run the game out long and hard, so we're ready for that. Our preparation from our players has been super over the last 6 months, so that won't necessarily faze us too much, although we'll need to be on guard to make sure we play it out to the end as well.
What about at the other end of proceedings? Like, how do you feel? Have you got any concerns about the start of the game? They've been playing intense footy week after week. You've had a week off. Any concern that you might not be as sharp as they are?
Maybe, although at this time of the year, getting a break after 9 games is almost like a mid-year break for the men's competition, and they all talk about the benefits of that. That for us, I think, has been fantastic. We had a really heavy travel schedule for the last 5 weeks of the season, and I just thought by the time we got to round 9 against Melbourne, we were good for 3.5 quarters of that game, and then just sort of didn't quite hang on to the end. So I just thought the wear and tear of what we'd done and how far we'd travelled in that time was maybe starting to catch up with us. But 1 week off at home, Easter, they've trained with great energy this week and they've been super. So I think our game's linked to energy, and I think that's going to be a key thing that we've been able to rejuvenate and get going again.
Cathie obviously gets a job every week. She did a successful job against Davey last time.
Yeah.
Has that been a difficult decision to know where to put her this week, to go with what you know or to look elsewhere perhaps?
Yeah, they've got a pretty impressive midfield, so any one of their three, Lambert, Benici or Davey, could be someone that you might put some more time into. It's interesting with Cathie though, like the assumption is that she's the only one in our team that brings that level of defensive pressure, but they all have that capacity and they've all shown that capacity across the year, which is great. And again, her style of play is not necessarily I'm not touching it and you're only going to get it 10 times. Her style of play is if it's there to win, I'm going to go and get it. So she's been really, really good offensively and plays that accountable midfield role better than anyone I've seen this year.
I guess she's the one that we look at because she gets the big job, I suppose, each week.
Yeah, well, that's the player we've used for those types of roles. But, at times, I mean, you probably haven't seen it from the outside, but at times others in that midfield group have been asked to be accountable for a quarter, half a game, a full game, whatever it is, just to be that really put more time into the opposition than you normally would. But like I said, they all have a desire to compete and they've all got great defensive a great defensive mindset when needed, but we've also got a nice balance of being able to, get on the burst and be offensive as well.
Message for fans for tomorrow? You'd be hoping as many as possible get to the game?
Yeah, absolutely. Beautiful day in Brisbane tomorrow. A chance to watch the boys play and whet the appetite first, and then come down 15 minutes later and watch us play. It's amazing that those two games are going back to back, and we'll have the stadium to ourselves. It's a fantastic opportunity for anyone who's got Brisbane Lions colours running through their veins to come down and support our team, particularly after the great year we've had and all the adversity we've had to face in regards to different challenges with travel and so forth. It's a great chance to come and support this team. I think you'll be proud of them.
And how far are you looking ahead? Are you thinking home grand final next weekend would be nice?
Yeah, but all that stuff's out of our hands. We gave up that right by going down by 2 points in the last home and away game, which is disappointing. But it's still possible, if Melbourne are able to beat Adelaide. Both prelim finals this week could go either way. We're up for the challenge. I'm sure Adelaide's up for the challenge to protect their turf as well. But, hope Melbourne get across the line and we do our bit, and, who knows from there.
Just one more, Star. Sorry, Lindsay, to cut you off. Are you happy with your team's ability in close matches? You've sort of fallen either side of the ledger a couple of times, and you've had a lot of matches against the other top 6 teams in your run home. Are you comfortable with how you handle those late game situations?
Yeah, we have, apart from maybe the Melbourne game where we were pushing up into a breeze in the last quarter, so that was always difficult. Same with the Collingwood game, actually. We had to protect the wind advantage that they had at the end of the game. We're getting better at it. I think because we've got a young group, they take a while to learn the tricks involved in terms of controlling the game and controlling the tempo, those sorts of things when you've got a lead, and then finding the right way to adjust when you haven't got the lead. So yeah, there's a bit of learning going on, and we're learning on the job. Nothing like the first couple of years though, where pretty much every week we ran out, the result was within 2 goals. But yeah, it's certainly a work in progress.